My son does acknowledge that he has a gambling problem, but he still has not been able to seek the help that he needs. He did go to Gamblers Anonymous a few years ago, but didn't see it through.
Most of them have a very difficult time fitting into a Gamblers Anonymous group because they'll tell us that they have nothing in common with these people, that they've, they hear about how they've lost a spouse. Well, these kids don't even have boyfriends or girlfriends. They lost their home. They still live at home. So there's not that same stigma that you've lost your house, you've lost your family, you lost your job.
But it's hard trying to be on the other side, and, I'm addicted to something that is socially acceptable and socially encouraged. I'm addicted to a behavior, and, well, it's part of my everyday life. A drug is so easy to spot. Society accepts that. Society understands that. We have so much awareness about drug addiction. We have so much awareness about alcoholism, that we understand you need it because your body needs it. But how do I explain to someone that my body needs me to gamble? It's just like any drug.
It was the worst feeling. You feel alone because everybody's like, you know what, like, we don't want to be associated with this kid. He's bad news because he gambles. He's going to get us involved. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they'd make up stories. Like, they would talk about how I abused my girlfriend if I lose money. Like, that which never happened, right? But they would make it up because they wanted to see me out. They want to see you at your worst.
And for me, I come from a Jewish background, and people always say, oh, there's no problems with this kind of stuff in the Jewish community because nobody wants to admit of a problem. But for me, I know there is, and I seen the people there. I seen people in my community. They're going out and doing all these things, and, a lot more than people think is going on. And if all of my experiences can lead to me being able to help others, then it's all worth it. Maybe I had to go through what I went through in order to help other people. Maybe I needed it to find a purpose in the world.
Despite the growth of gambling among young people, there are organizations and programs that are trying to get involved. The Youth Photo Voice Project is a collaboration between the University of Toronto, the Ontario Federation of Indian Friendship Centres, and the YMCA that is working with young people to raise awareness of the consequences that come from gambling problems.
The YMCA Youth Gambling Awareness Program has 20 youth outreach workers situated across the province. And the main component of their job is to talk to young people every day, all day, about the issue of gambling. And so we applied for funding to complete what we call the Youth Voices Project. We ran 6 projects across the province. 2 were Aboriginal, 2 were Francophone, and 2 were English-speaking. We had a billboard in Sudbury, and that is to let people know that it's not always the traditional forms of gambling, so sitting around the table, and also that young women can be affected by this activity. We had a video produced in Guelph and in Niagara Falls around the issue of gambling and how it can affect people at younger and younger ages. And we also had a photo voice project that was completed in Timmins with a group of Aboriginal young people raising awareness around the issue of their culture and gambling as well.
The isolation is incredible. Some of the northern communities, they have nothing. They don't have anything to do. So, they get together, they drink. There's addiction problems. There's, drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever can keep their mind occupied.
Often when I go into the Aboriginal community to talk about problem gambling, I hear from community members that gambling has always been part of our culture. And it's said in a way that almost gives us the right to develop a gambling addiction. So with my position, it's one full-time position, which covers the entire province. And we have 30 friendship centers across the province, and my responsibility is to provide training to frontline staff at friendship centers across the province who are dealing directly with problem gamblers, for an example.
There's not as many resources on these northern communities that can help deal with these problems, right? Even in Timmins, where you're limited. Southern Ontario seems to have a lot of resources available for people.
One of the things that we're finding is that even though there are mainstream treatment services that are available, they're not appropriate for Aboriginal people. They're not culture-based. They don't understand the history of Aboriginal people, so it's really hard to for Aboriginal people to go there and get what they need from that program. Research indicates that people, the number one reason that people gamble is for the entertainment value. And our research indicates that Aboriginal people gamble because they want to increase their income. They're there to make money, plain and simple. There's no entertainment value, there's no social value, they're there to make money.
I do have a lot of Aboriginal communities in my area. I do have one of the major commercial casinos in my area being Casino-Rama, and with that, you know, going into the Aboriginal communities is a lot different than going into, for the elementary schools, for instance, going into an Aboriginal elementary school versus an elementary school in the city is much different.
In the province of Ontario, we have the one commercial casino, Rama, which is the money from that particular casino gets divided among the 132 First Nations across the province. I'm hoping that when all is settled with the gaming agreement signed by the Chiefs of Ontario, that there will be a percentage set aside of those funds to deal with some of the social issues coming from problem gambling within the Aboriginal population.
If you're like young and you think you may have a gambling problem or you're spending more time online gambling, you have to talk to someone. You can't do this alone. You can either cross the line and then get help or get help before you cross the line.
I mean, I say don't do it. I mean, those would be my words of advice. Don't get involved in it. You want to play with your friends, go play with your friends.
You know, spend $10 in a better way. Spend your money in a better way. You want to buy, like, save up your money and then buy yourself a car. Save up your money, pay for tuition, get a real job where you're going to make more money working there. If you're better at yourself than losing $200 at a poker table, right? So
you should try to convert it to a friendly game with your friends or family. And if there's some gambling involved, money-wise, that's okay. Because usually with your peers around, it never gets huge.
But it's hard to say to somebody, don't gamble, or don't, you know, when it's all over, it's so pervasive. It's on TV, they sell it on internet, they sell it everywhere, and it's just up to you to you know, if you want to involve yourself, just enjoy it, but don't overdo it. But I can't stop you from overdoing it, that's for sure. God, I thought I was brilliant. I thought I had it all under control, so.
The explosive growth of gambling among young people is so new, so sudden, that no one really knows what the future might bring.
This is an enormous social experiment that we're doing. We don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. This is the first generation that will spend their entire lives in which gambling is legalized and government supported. So we don't know what's going to be the long-term impact on these kids.
And with the millions of dollars the gambling industry spends in advertising to get more and more people to gamble, and with the hundreds of millions of dollars the governments are making from gambling, the odds are against anything happening anytime soon.